Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling. In a world where fame often hides the truth, one man chose honesty over everything. What was really captured in Menglong's final recordings? The files recovered from his studio weren't just words. They were windows into a soul. And what they revealed today might change the way you see life, love, and truth forever. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear isn't a scandal. It's a reminder of how one quiet voice can echo louder than fame itself. Menglong was never the kind of artist who sought the noise of the spotlight. Those who had the privilege of knowing him often described him as a man who moved through life with quiet grace, choosing depth over attention, meaning over fame. In the final months before his passing, his world grew smaller yet infinitely deeper. He spent countless nights alone in his studio, surrounded only by the soft hum of his computer, the scratching of his pen, and the gentle rhythm of his breathing. It was not isolation born from sadness, but a deliberate retreat, a choice to listen more closely to the sound of his own heart. He would sit for hours at his wooden desk, the faint glow of the lamp illuminating stacks of notebooks filled with thoughts about life, art, and humanity. The walls of his studio were lined with fragments of poems, sketches, and unfinished letters, each one a quiet reflection of the man behind the fame. Friends who visited him said there was something profoundly peaceful about the space. It felt less like a working room and more like a sanctuary, a place where time slowed down and sincerity became tangible. When the files from his laptop were discovered, what emerged was not evidence of scandal or despair, but a portrait of emotional honesty. The folders carried titles such as Light, Heart, and Eternal, each filled with handwritten notes, voice recordings, and sketches that revealed the delicate architecture of his inner world. In one of these recordings, labeled "If Anyone Listens," Yu's voice was calm yet filled with meaning. There was no bitterness, only clarity. He spoke of the pressure of public life, of the difficulty of remaining authentic in a world that rewards performance over truth. He confessed how easily the soul can be lost in noise and how, over time, he learned to seek comfort in silence. His words were not written for fame or pity, but as a legacy of understanding. They carried a sense of completion, as if he knew that his true purpose was not to be remembered for his fame, but for his honesty. Each sentence was a window into a man who lived gently yet felt deeply, and in the stillness of his final days, he transformed solitude into something sacred, an act of courage, a declaration of truth that continues to resonate long after his voice has faded. When the final recording was played, the room fell into absolute silence. Menglong's voice emerged, gentle yet unwavering, the kind of voice that seemed to come from a place beyond fear. There was no trembling, no hint of despair, only serenity, as though he had already made peace with the world and with himself. The first thing he said was disarmingly simple. If anyone listens to this one day, I hope you remember. The world is loud, but the truth is quiet. Those words carried an almost sacred calmness, like a whisper meant not for attention, but for understanding. It was as if he was speaking directly to every person who had ever felt lost in the noise of life, reminding them that clarity often lives in silence. As the recording continued, Yu reflected on the fragile nature of fame. He spoke of the illusion of perfection and how easily people confuse applause for love. They see the smile, he said softly, but not the weight behind it. His words were not a confession, nor an accusation. They were an invitation to look deeper into what it means to live truthfully in a world obsessed with appearances. He talked about the loneliness that fame can bring, the pressure to be flawless, and the quiet moments where he questioned whether anyone truly saw him beyond the image. Yet, beneath every sentence was gratitude. He thanked those who believed in him, the fans who called him Menglong with affection, those who reminded him he was more than just a star. Then came the most poignant moment. He paused, and in that silence you could almost hear him smile. Even when I'm gone, he said, don't look for answers in noise. Look for peace and honesty. The simplicity of that sentence felt monumental. It was not a farewell. It was a gift, a final truth offered gently to the world. His tone carried warmth, not sorrow, as though he had already transcended the pain that once surrounded him. By the time the recording ended, there was a stillness that words could not fill. Those who heard it did not cry out of grief, but out of awe because they realized they had just listened to a man who had turned his final moments into something eternal. A lesson on how to live with grace, even when facing the quiet edge of goodbye. Since that recording was discovered, Menglong's voice has continued to echo far beyond the walls of his studio. It has crossed borders and languages, finding its way into the hearts of people who never met him but somehow feel they understand him. What remains now is not a story of tragedy, but of transformation. His words have become a quiet revolution, a reminder that strength is not always loud, and that truth often exists in the smallest, most delicate gestures. Every time someone listens to his final message, they find a reflection of their own humanity within it. It is not only about who Menglong was. It is about who we all are when the world becomes silent and we are left alone with our thoughts. Across continents, fans still write letters to him, letters that speak of healing, courage, and rebirth. From Seoul to Los Angeles, from Bangkok to Paris, people describe how his calm voice helped them through sleepless nights, how his belief in honesty inspired them to face their own truth. In Japan, one listener translated his words into a poem. In France, an artist painted his portrait with the quote, "The world is loud but the truth is quiet," at the bottom corner. It is as though his message has become a language of its own, spoken not through words but through emotion. In every culture that hears it, people seem to understand the same thing. Authenticity has power. Those who once admired him for his performances now remember him for something greater, the way he lived with integrity when no one was watching. His recordings, his notes, even the pauses between his sentences, are filled with a kind of wisdom that cannot be taught. They remind us that peace is not found in the absence of struggle, but in the acceptance of it. In a world addicted to speed and noise, Menglong's legacy stands still, urging us to listen, to breathe, and to be honest with ourselves. There is something profoundly human in the way his story continues to move people. It teaches that beauty is not in perfection, but in sincerity, that even the quietest life can leave a lasting mark when it is lived with truth. He turned his solitude into something sacred, transforming pain into perspective. Through his calmness, he taught that transparency is a form of courage, and that the heart, once understood, becomes unbreakable. Years may pass, but the emotion he left behind will not fade. His words now belong to everyone who has ever felt unseen, misunderstood, or silenced. They carry the gentle strength of someone who refused to let darkness define him. Menglong may have left the stage, but his spirit remains in the small moments of reflection he gave us, a mirror through which we see ourselves more clearly. And in that stillness, in that truth, he lives on, not as a symbol of loss, but as a quiet reminder that sincerity, once spoken, never dies. So tonight, as we remember Menglong, let's not focus on how he left, but on what he left behind: compassion, courage, and the power of being real. Because sometimes the most powerful message isn't caught in the noise of the world, but in the quiet heartbeats of someone who dared to be honest. Thank you for watching and sharing this moment with Update X24H. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications bell, so you never miss another story that celebrates humanity, truth, and courage. Remember, every story we tell here is a piece of someone's light. Let's keep that light alive together. Glowing Star.